Music is expression. In today's TuneUp challenge, you are going to be recording self-made sounds and triggering them in a digital sampler. What is a sampler? A sampler is an electronic musical instrument that records and plays back portions of sound recordings. Samples can be made up of rhythm, speech, sound effects, melody, and larger portions of other songs. Samples have been used in really cool ways by artists like Peter Gabriel, David Bowie, Herbie Hancock, Daft Punk, and Post Malone. I will be using Bandlab Sampler in order to capture my own self-made sounds and trigger them inside a sampler. I'm going to start with creating a new project, and I'm going to open the sampler. So a quick look at the sampling interface down here. Right now we have custom, and this is my 16 square grid that I have to work with. These are the triggers. The keys are V, B, and M, and you can see the rest here. So when you press these keys on the keyboard, the sound will trigger. You have the option to record a sound via your mic or input. You can drag or drop an already existing file. So if you captured something on your mobile phone, you can drop it here. You can also cut a section or clip from any other track that you've worked on and import it here. And of course, you can browse the Bandlab sounds. Because I'm a vocalist, I'm going to be working with my voice to create sounds for this example. So I'm going to start by recording. Oh. Bum, bum, bum. Ooh, ooh. So you do want to be mindful of your volume when recording on your mic. So for example, I can see that sound B, when I press the B key, is a little soft. They give you a little room here, but I'm actually just going to re-record that sample, so I'm just going to delete it. So there are some ways to manipulate the things that you have now triggered. So you can see that if I press these keys, V, or B, or N. Okay, so I have a series of sounds here. If I pull this N bar to the right or left, it's going to basically trim the sample that I have. I can adjust the volume here. I can pan left or right. That's going to move the audio either to the left side of the speakers or headphones or the right side. We can control the pitch. This could be interesting. Maybe on that clicky sound. What if I want the pitch to go up or down? Well, that's interesting. It's interesting kind of having it lower. We can adjust the attack here. It's on 1 millisecond. That means we're getting the very front end of that sound right off the bat. Now notice if I go up on this knob, you see the shadow that happens? We're not even going to hear it now because I have it all the way in the shadow. Trimming off the entry point of sound. That's the way you could think about it. We also have the release, which is here. The release is the tail end of this. So as long as I am holding down the B key, sorry, the V key, it's going to trigger my sound. I have to be holding down the V key, right? But if I want the release to be shorter, right when I lift up my finger, it stops. So keys pressed and up, and it's just short. So, oops, over here. Now it's longer. Fingers down and up. And see how it keeps playing. So these are very interesting. This has much more to do, the attack and release has much more to do on the way that you want to interact and perform with the sampler. Then, of course, we have tone. This is basically going to adjust high and low ends. So you can fine tune it here. Other tools, normalize, crop, and reverse. Reversing would flip the entire track around. Now it sounds like this. Crop would mean that you are technically cutting the ends of the sounds. Normalize is going to fit it to a grid so that the beginning of the sound starts exactly on like a line up here on the timeline. And gate, one shot, or loop. Loop is going to loop it around. One shot is just a reference to if you hit something one time, like this is a one shot. The gate is actually going to respect the entrance and out points that you have set with your attack and release. You can also move your sounds around once you have them. So let's say I want this sound down here where the M is. It will just move it down there. It actually just switches them. Now that I have my self-made sounds in the sampler and I've adjusted them, I'm going to record and start to see if I can come up with some cool pieces that I could pull from for a larger work. You can also manipulate the sampler that you've created, the group of sounds, by adding an effect. For instance, you can come over, select anything from here. I'm going to try the ambient bass. And it's going to put the effect on the entire track. So if you actually wanted to put it on individual sounds, you would need to pull up the same sampler on a separate loop and record that sound individually. But this might sound like this. Today's tune-up challenge, sampler, self-made sound. I look forward to hearing your self-made sound compositions inside the Teenagers Club.